There we go. Looks like we are live. Let's go ahead and if you're in the building, go ahead and give me a shout out. Let me know who you are, where you're from, where you're listening from. And I'm going to take a minute to share this out to a few people and get some more folks on in the building. Go ahead and do me a favor. If you're listening, share this video. Let's get some family on in here. And we have a dynamic and exciting guest today that I can't wait to get him in here so we can hear what this brother has to say. So, like I said, hit that like button as you come on in. Hit that like button and share this video. I see Verna Aldridge from Memphis, Tennessee. How you doing, Verna? Let's see. Share. Do me a favor. Share this video. Tag a friend. Tag some family. Get them on in here. And let's share this good information. All right. So, let's see. Let me introduce myself before I get too far ahead of myself. I am your host, Vaughn, also known as the Love Alchemist. I specialize in marriage and relationship empowerment, and I'm also your men's health and wellness coach. Today's show is brought to you in part by the Heart Work book, 31 Days to Mastering Your Relationship. This is a book that my wife and I wrote primarily for the purpose of empowering marriages and relationships. So get your book at www.theconditionsoflove.com. That's my website, and you can go there for all of your coaching needs. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring in our guest, Mr. Warner Moore. Before I do, let me give you just a little bit about Warner, just a little bit of information about Warner. He's currently the regional vice president for PFS Investments. He's the CEO of WJMoore Properties LLC in Savannah, and prior military veteran, and a former co-worker of mine. And so he's not just what you would consider a guest, but he's also one of my good friends. So without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Warner Moore to the show. Good evening, brother Warner. How you doing, sir?
Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you, brother.
And likewise, man. Likewise. If I know you heard the intro, if I left anything out, feel free to add and let the family know a little bit more about yourself.
Okay. Like you said, I live in Savannah, Georgia. I'm been married for about 15 and a half years now. And so, man, just loving life. Got 9 children. Though a lot of people say, man, 9 children. Yes, 9 children. And so, just glad to be a vessel on this earth, to be able to help people and just do all that I can, and do my God-given rights, basically, to be here and help people and talk about different things and just hey, do what I got to do.
Yeah. As as you say that, talking about helping people and God and faith and how that plays a major role in your life. It reminds me of a quote that I read before, and it says something to the effect that, let's see, how does it go, man? I want to make sure I get it right. Something to the point that when a man is on his purpose, him and his God, the God within him, are always in agreement. What do you think about that?
That's
when
deep.
Man is on his purpose, that the God within him. Oh no, here it is. I got it right here. It says, when a man says yes, his personal God says yes also. That's the African proverb. When a man says yes, his personal God says yes also. What do you think about that?
Well, when a man says yes, his personal God, well, you got to think about, well, who is his personal God?
Yes.
And some people some people believe in God, some people believe in just the universe or whatever. But when you have a strong connection with just doing the right thing, or a strong connection in believing in something that is right, that is good, that is wholesome, then yeah, you can walk in that purpose, and you'll feel fulfilled and be able to just walk in it. So yeah, that's how I look at it. That's
Yeah.
how I look at
Your yes is your yes, and your no is your no.
it.
And, I remember when we used to work together. Sometimes the upper management or whatever, they might crack a joke, or they might say things that was meant to, that the average person would probably laugh at, just to appease the fact that the boss might have told a joke.
Hmm.
But one thing I always appreciated about you is that if it wasn't no music, you wasn't dancing. If it wasn't funny, you wasn't laughing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. I said, hey, I don't owe nobody. Don't nobody owe me nothing.
yeah,
And so, my commitment is to my family and to doing what I can to help people. And so, hey, if I didn't join into the crowd.
right.
I've always been one of the ones that kind of stood out, kind of stood to the side, watch, see what was going on, not just follow along. So yeah, I wasn't gonna shuck and jive for nobody.
Yeah. So now, as you say that, of course, I mentioned that we used to work together,
Hmm.
and one of the things that I noticed about you, so it was all men at our job, and as you go through the work area, where we all had our individual workstations,
Hmm.
and during the workday, most people are listening to music or some form of comedy or news. But one thing that always stood out about you is that just about every time I either passed your workstation or stopped at your workstation, you always had some form of learning that was
Hmm.
playing, that, like, through your speakers. It was either mastery of finances, or something about real estate, or bettering your health, etc. And,
Hmm.
I love quotes, and so it kind of reminded me of this quote, and I kind of want you to speak to this. I put this on Facebook the other day. It says, a man who lacks purpose distracts himself with pleasure.
Hmm.
And not that pleasure is a bad thing, not that entertainment is a bad thing, but you have always been so focused and so task oriented, that and so goal oriented. So a man who lacks purpose distracts himself with pleasure. Is that something that resonates with you? Is that something that kind of, how you kind of feel about how you live your life, or what?
Yeah, you got to think about it. They got social media now, and they got so many different things, Twitter and TikTok and all this other stuff. And a lot of this is distracting from us growing. People can sit back and tell you the latest songs or the latest dances and all that, but how is that going to actually help you in the future? How is that going to help you right now? How is that going to help you with your family and friends? You know what I'm saying? And so when you think about things like that, it's like this: formal education will make you a living. Okay, you get formal education make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune.
Mm,
So if you sit back and just self-educate, learn, um, don't waste time, because time is the most precious commodity that we have. People think it's money. No, it's time. Because if you have enough time, you can make enough money. And
that's
so, hey, so I don't like wasting time. So I always been productive, or had something going on where I could be able to continue learning.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that. So we working together, right? And
Hmm.
some years ago, and the time came, and you got laid off. They came in, they were coming around, they were starting from the bottom of the roster. You were one of the junior men on the roster, and they laid you off from your job. Now, for most men, that's a sad day, right? I mean,
Hmm.
we make good money. We were making good money in that time. But I
Hmm.
didn't get the sense from you that you were as sad as most would be, if you were even sad at all. And it was, like I said, it was a good paying job. And
Hmm.
but here's the kicker. That wasn't even the big part. The big part for me was that they offered you some months later. I don't know if it was a year later or whatever it was, but they called you or emailed you, and they offered you your job back.
Hmm.
Now, this is a good paying job. Most men are looking forward to an opportunity like this. They call you, they offer you your job back, and you tell them, no, thank you, I'm good. So, talk to me about that experience, about being laid off, why
Hmm.
you were so optimistic, even though they were laying you off at a time where most people would love to have a job like that. And then also, what gave you the courage to tell such a good paying job, no, thank you, when they called you to come back?
It all goes back to preparation and knowing the system and knowing what you got and what you're working with and who you with. See, we don't own our jobs. Our jobs pretty much own us. And being in Georgia, where it's a right what they call it, right to
Right to
whatever.
work, right to work.
Yeah, right to where whatever, where they can fire you at will. That's what it is, at will state. So by being at will state, you can't sit back and depend on your job. You can just say, "Oh, I go to work, I make money, I come home," but you don't own it. So when knowing that and coming to the realization of that years into already being with the job, I said, I have to set up a plan B. And that's where a lot of people make mistakes at. They don't set up plan Bs. So I said, I set up a plan B. What I first needed to do, okay, I don't have time to go try to work another job, working 40 hours a week. Then I'm doing 80 hours. I wasn't finna do all that. I said, so let me go ahead and get myself educated, get more self-educated, get more internal education, something that can nobody take away from you because it's all in your head. It's all in your head. So I said, if I do that, then I can be able to make my own schedule, make my own money, and do it when I'm off work. And I mean, at times I did it while I was on the other person's job. So,
Yeah.
but by knowing that, it set me up to where I was able to go ahead and line things up. And so think about it. A lot of people listening right now, you tired of working your job. You tired of clocking in and all this other stuff. But what are you doing to make the changes? What are you doing to get away from the job? You can't sit back and just complain and do nothing. You know, there was a there's this little saying where it's a guy walked up to a porch and it was a dog, right? And people sitting on the porch and the dog was just laying there moaning. The dog was right by the door moaning and moaning. And so the guy looked and said, man, he went into the house, talked to the people, came out. Then a few days later, came back to the house and a dog was still sitting there moaning. And then he, talked to the people, left, come back, and he said, "Wait a minute, listen. Every time I come by here, this dog is moaning. What's wrong with the dog?" I said, "Well, he's laying on a nail. That's his favorite spot, though. But he's laying on a nail, and it's hurting him." And so that's what people do with these jobs. They continuously lay on this job, and they feel it hurting them, but they are stuck right there when they are not trying to get up and move to a new spot, a new position. So they end up just sitting there hurting. So the thing about it is, find out what it is that you want to do and start working on it, and just a little bit of time as possible, on a daily basis, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you can do, because you don't know what's going to come up with the other things, with the job or whatever. But when that happened with my job, I was like, hey, it was on a Friday, an hour before we was getting off work. They called us over to the office, let us know, hey, we got to let some of y'all go.
Mm.
I didn't have enough seniority, to make it. I said, okay. Went back and I thought about it. I said, well, I've prepared. And one of the main things I did was I got to where we paid off all the debt. See, if you're stuck in if you're stuck in bondage for a reason. You're stuck in bondage because you are forced to have to sit back and work, because if you're accumulating so much more and more and you got to keep on paying it, then you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck in bondage. So I said, let me release the shackles by getting off all the debt, letting all this stuff get paid off all that. And then I said, let me build up a good savings. Let me build up some investments. Let me build up some short-term money. Let me do all these things and get in place so that when the time comes that they may let me go, I won't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So that time came and it happened. And it was a gut punch. I thought I'd be able to take it good. I did kind of take it good, but then again, it was still a gut punch.
Yeah.
But by having a wonderful wife at home, I could come home to, and I said, hey, sweetheart, they just laid me off from the job. And my wife looked at me and she high-fived me. She said, all right. I said, huh? Now, how many women do y'all know that you can come home to and say, hey, I got laid off, and she gonna smile and high five you? The reason why she high fived me is because she felt so secure with our finances. She felt so secure with my ability to continue to be self-employed and make money and do what I need to do, that she didn't worry about it. And she said, you could just join right on in with me in a business that's we're already pretty much doing, and run forth with it. So, hey, that's what I did. And haven't turned around since.
So the job, really, when they laid you off, it was almost a blessing in disguise, because it freed you up to put more time and more effort and energy into what you were doing on the side. Does that sound about right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Of course, one thing about it, when you're self-employed, you we put 40 hours, 50 hours and all this time in for the man, you know what I'm saying? But think about it. If you put that type of time into yourself, self-improvement, self-employment, self-development, then man, you can become a beast at whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put that time into that, and it worked out.
Yeah.
It worked out. I was able to just, I didn't miss any income. I put it like that.
Yeah, I remember you would talk. We would talk all the time, and every time I would come by your work area, just to chop it up with you, it seemed like you were always crunching numbers. You were always balancing the books.
Mhm.
Your personal life, and you just always seemed so focused and on point with what you had to do. And so to that point where it was a gut punch, but your wife was still able to high five you. That's largely due to how you had spent your time prior to that point, where you were talking about paying off all your debt, becoming debt
Mhm.
free, and having that safety net, that long term, that short term safety net, and that long
Mhm.
term safety net. And I remember I was talking to my wife some years ago when we used to hang out a little bit more, and I would say, well, I'm gonna call Warner and his wife and see if they want to go out to eat. But at the same time that I would be thinking about inviting you out, I already knew how you were with your money. You were so tight with your money. And I remember one time you were telling me, tell them that story tell them a little bit about how you used to, how you would split like a burger and fries and a drink with your wife, and you would get the talk about that. Tell us a little bit about how you would manage that and how you would walk that line of, like they say, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, right? So you were still trying to play a little bit, but on the budget. To talk about that.
Yeah. Well, what the thing was is, what I would do is, anytime I bought something for myself, it would be very minimal. Just like, you would see, I would I would buy something in bulk and I would eat just the portions, just
Right,
the
right.
serving sizes, because in the long run, I was able to save money from purchasing so much food. Because think about it, a lot of people spend a lot of money on food.
Right.
So I said, if I can cut back on that end, then when I do go out with my wife, then hey, it's, honey, get whatever you want to get. I don't, have to sit back and worry about it. And I might not get much then, because she wouldn't eat all her food. So I knew I was just gonna eat the rest of hers. So, just being able to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
And just, just not overindulge, but do what you got to do. And so just from me doing that for years, because I come from not having a whole lot, I had a mother and a father in the household. and you know, and two brothers. And so we didn't have a whole lot, but my mother and father did as much as they could for us, take care of us. Then they got divorced, and I was living with mom, and then decided to um, jump up and live with dad, because I thought it was going to be cooler to go stay with him. And you know, that was a mess, but
Yeah.
I did what I had to do. But I went there, and so just from living life and being from Memphis, Tennessee, you know, growing up there, it was I was out in the streets. I was doing a little few things I ain't had no business doing, but just learning about money. You know, I learned about the hustle side first early. Then I said, let me get up out of this. I don't want to learn like this. Let me go into the military, make something of my life. Went to the military. Then I said, wait a minute, I'm working, I'm just living paycheck to paycheck. Let me find out how I can be able to do something else and get more money. So I went into started learning about entrepreneurship and different things like that. So yeah, make a long story short, just hey, being frugal has its rewards at times.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you talked about having so many children. You have 9 children, and I know it hasn't always been, you know, as good for you as it is now as far as the finances go. And that forced you, I guess, or challenged you to be more frugal. And it used to amaze me to see you actually adhere to the portion size or the recommended serving size on the box. So if the box would say, you know, like you would have cereal at your desk and milk at your desk, you had a little refrigerator, and the box would say one cup is the serving size of cereal, and what was it, 8 ounces of milk or
Mhm.
whatever it was, and you would actually sit there and measure out exactly what the portion size or the recommended serving size was.
Mhm.
That always fascinated me because I could never do that. I like to go ahead.
And see, and you know, if you really want to do something, then you'll find a way. And if you don't, then you'll find an excuse.
Woo! Say that again. Say that one.
If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. And if you don't, then you'll find an excuse.
Yeah.
So my thing was, if I want something to last, if it's food, if it's money, if it's marriage, if it's, you know, whatever, I said I gotta find a way to make sure that I have the correct portions. And it's so many of us who don't portion our life out the way it needs to be portioned. And when I say that, think about it. You know, people say they want to grow more spiritually, but they not reading the Bible, they not going to church or doing whatever spiritual things that they want to do, but they say they want to. Well, you got to portion it. You got to say, okay, at this particular time, or I'm going to do this. I'm going to give myself this much time in this particular field of studying or worship or reading or whatever. So when you portion things out, it can become a life a lifetime thing, a daily lifetime ritual, basically.
Yeah.
So portioning goes across the board.
Now you said something that really struck me. Most people, if they get laid off, their wives are not high fiving them,
Hmm.
right? And you know me, I'm the relationship guy, I'm the marriage guy, and I'm teaching couples all over the world about how to have a more harmonious relationship. I'm empowering them to do these things, and when you explain how she high fived you, to me that is the epitome of a couple who are on one accord, who are
Hmm.
walking the same walk. Talk to me a little bit about how instrumental your wife was in this transition from being an employee to being self-employed, and now you're, you know, the CEO of Warner J. Moore Properties, real estate, and then also, you know, FPS investments. Talk to me a little bit about how instrumental she was in that transition to get you to where you are right now.
Well, she's been instrumental in so much, you know, and that goes back to, and I know you understand this real good. That goes back to the compatibility of couples. you know what I'm saying, of getting together. And you gotta get with somebody who is going to challenge you. You got
Mm,
to get with somebody who, and it's a lot of brothers who are afraid of a challenge. They want to be able to be so dominant and just, oh, I'm the man and you're going to shut up and do what I tell. That's not how it should work. That's not how it should work. Of course, we are the heads of the household. We are the kings in our household. But but we have to be able to uh, humble ourselves to where we say, okay, hey, yes, you have said this to me, honey, and this is something good that you are talking about. Let's discuss it more so I can get a better understanding of what you're talking about. So I had to get to that point. And when I started learning to get into that point and understanding that what she said was making a whole lot of sense, it started keeping me, what I'm saying, going into directions because I would see a different viewpoint than my narrow-minded self at times. So she's been instrumental, even with getting the job, and I thank God for having the job that I did have. It was a stepping stone because it allowed us to move to Savannah, Georgia. It allowed us to be able to get a house built and get some other things going, and raise up the kids in a decent neighborhood and stuff like that. She was instrumental in me even in doing that, because when I told her about it, I was kind of self-employed at the time before I even got that job. And she was like, I said, hey, they sent me an email, but they want me to go all the way to Atlanta at first thing in the morning. I said, it's 10 o'clock at night. They want me to be in Atlanta. And Atlanta was like 3.5 hours. She was like, well, go.
right.
I said, oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess I will go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went and got the job. That helped. That was instrumental. And then just by her joining into the financial services industry and us talking about different things, and then she joining on in, she wanted me to join in first, and I was like, no, listen, I'm good. I work a good job. You need something to do. You need to go. You can make some extra money or whatever, and that's that. So she went ahead and did it. But just from having the will to help her and to be a part of something greater than what I was at the time, hey, I was able to join on in. So she was instrumental in that. And just all the different aspects of spirituality, helping me, and with the kids, understanding, just how to deal with kids even better and stuff like that, man. It's she's been just a wonderful helpmate, um, exactly what the Bible says that a wife should be.
Yeah, man, my man.
Mhm.
So look, family, we about to warm it up a little bit and get into a little bit more details about what Warner Moore does. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that share button, and invite some friends and family, because we're about to go into a little bit more detail so we can pick this brother's brain and get some of these nuggets that this man is so well versed in. So first things first, you're currently the regional vice president for PFS Investments.
Mhm.
What is that? What does that mean? And how does that communicate that to us, and
Mhm.
how we might be able to benefit off of what it is
Mhm.
that and have learned from that?
Okay. Well, I'm a regional vice president, and what it is I I work with a lot of different companies when it comes to just helping people to grow their money, to maintain their money, to different things like that. But my main goal, my main purpose is to help people on a personal level to just do the best that they can with finances. See, think about it. I think it said in 2053, over 95% of the African American wealth is going to be out of the community. And so that's something huge. So we got to start working on that now. So I said, if I get into the financial industry, if I learn how to be able to do investments and insurance and different things like that, and become a financial coach, then I can be able to help people all over. And so that's what I did. I studied, I got licensed, to do these different things. I said, hey, let me go ahead and just start helping people as much as possible. So that's the premise of what it is that I do.
Okay. So are there any types of financial moves that you might, so maybe there's a novice watching this show, maybe somebody who's not very well versed in financial planning or financial investments. Is there anything that you could offer them as a starting point,
Hmm.
to begin that path to where you are right now even?
Hmm. Yes, it's two things. For one, they have to stop the bleeding. And
Mm,
when I say that, well, think about this. Back in the day, there was villages, and they had to go walk all the way to the well. They took buckets with them. They pumped the water, did all this long journey, pumped the water, put it into the buckets, and then they walked back all the way to the village with the water. Now, if you have holes in the bottom of them buckets, as you walk, it's leaking out, it's leaking out, it's leaking out. You make this long journey all the way back to the village, and now you got half the water or hardly no water. What sense does that make? So, no matter how old you are, you could be 16 with your first job, or you can be 59 about to retire. You got to stop the bleeding when it comes to debt. See, that water is your money. Them holes are debt holes, basically. That's just letting all your money fall out. So when people get a grip on debt, that's the first key to having what they want to have, because it solves so many different things. Um, and so people get hyped up on credit. Oh, I got to get my credit here and get my credit there. Well, you got to think about it. You know, the major things with credit is to buy a house, because a lot of people ain't got no cash money to go buy a house, and buy a nice car. Other than that, you can be able to manage your credit and not get into a lot of debt, and still have a good credit score, and still buy what you want to be able to buy, have what you want to be able to have. So if people get a good grip on not putting out too much debt and setting up a foundation and having emergency money, that's real important. Because if you have emergency money, you don't have to get a loan because you had an emergency come up. You don't have to use a credit card because you had an emergency come up.
yeah.
So those two factors right there, that's everybody needs to be able to know that and have that set up first.
Okay. Two things. People talk about debt. You mentioned debt, and you talked about having some long-term strategy or long-term money, or
Hmm.
even short-term money for emergencies. Do you have any recommended debt strategies? Like we heard about I'm not sure if many of the listeners are familiar with the debt snowball,
Hmm.
or do you have any type of strategies to offer to help people get out of debt?
Hmm. Oh yeah, the debt snowball, like you said, it's called debt stacking. It's a wonderful tool, but it takes some discipline to do it. But debt stacking, and for the people who don't know what debt stacking is, basically it's like this: you got bills and you got debts. Bills is anything that don't have interest attached to it, like bill, water bill, phone bill. They don't have interest attached to them. So what you do, you pay the minimum payment on it every single month when it's due, and that's that. Don't pay your light bill up 3 months in advance when you got a car note that got interest on it. So the things with interest, that's what you want to target. But what you want to target is everything. You pay the minimum balance, the minimum payment on everything, but the one with the smallest balance is what you want to add the extra money to. Because once it's knocked out, you take whatever that monthly payment is on that, add it to the next one with the smallest balance, and then you knock that out. And that's called debt stacking. And once you do that and you start getting to where you're knocking them out, you're saving time. And that's huge, because you are cutting down the amount of months and years that you would have been paying on debt, and you're saving from so much interest. So I look at a lot of numbers, and when you look at numbers, the numbers make sense. It can tell you, hey, you can save this amount of money if you knock this down early. Well, how are you going to knock it down early? You might not have any extra money. Okay, well, you got to use leverage and see what else you can do to be able to get that knocked out. So just different strategies like that can really help. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, yeah. So that's basically why they call it, or you call it, debt stacking. Is that the same thing as the debt snowball?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you're basically taking the lowest payment, interest bearing payment, and then when that bill is paid off, after you paid extra on that, when that bill is paid off, then you roll that one or snowball or stack that one to the next lowest one. That same amount that you were paying on the lowest one, you add that to the next one, and then so on and so on and so on.
Yes, and once it's knocked out, then you use that, whatever you was paying on it, add it to the next one. Yeah, and that's no matter. Now, some people say, "Oh, you're going to pay the one with the highest interest first." No, not necessarily, because you could have 5 credit cards, and one of them could be at a $5,000 limit, and it could have the highest interest, but you got the other 4 that might only have $300, $400, $500 owed on them. So while you taking a while to knock out that big one, you still got interest on all the other ones, even though it might be lower amount of interest. So just whatever your plan is, have it lined up and have it broken down to where you can see what you're going to save and what you're going to do with it. That's most important. And I'm gonna tell you, there was a brother, very, very smart brother that I learned from. I used to work with him, named Vaughn Jackson.
Hey,
he told me, he said one day, he said, peace of mind is one of the most important things that you can have. He said, it's so valuable. He said, having a peace of mind, and that stuck with me. And so when you think about these different strategies or different things that you do in life, in marriage, in finances, if it gives you peace of mind, if it helps you to feel better, then hey, go for it. If it's the right thing to do and it helps you to feel better, go for it. Because it's too many people running around here living with so much stress. And so, so hey, I appreciate you for telling me that, and that stuck with me deeply. It really did.
I appreciate your appreciation, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, you also mentioned something about having emergency money and both short term and long term. Talk to us a little bit about what that looks like. How much should a person have in their short term money versus their and then also how much should they have in their long term? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Gotcha. So think about this. On a monthly basis, what you should do is think about how much money does it take you on a monthly basis to pay all of your bills and all of your debts. So let's say if it takes $2,000, if that's your rent, lights, water, car note, food, gas, you know what I'm saying? If it's $2,000 a month, then that's what you need sitting to the side, but you need 3 months of it. But you don't need that 3 months of money sitting in the regular savings account. A regular savings account is not going to hardly give you any interest. The national average with a savings account is 0.06%. And if you with one of those big banks, then you might be getting 0.01%, which is hardly no money. So what you want to do is you want to be able to have your money for that in a money market account, so you can get a little bit more interest on it. It can kind of at least keep up with inflation, so it can keep its same purchasing power, and have 3 months of it. So if you need $2,000 to live off of a month, have about $6,000 there. And it's safe, make sure it's FDIC insured, and just make sure it's there. Then with the short-term account, you need another 3 months of expenses. So between the both of those, that's 6 months of expenses. But with that other 3 months in the short term, it actually needs to be in some type of investment, but it still needs to be liquid to where it's not locked into something. You can get it if you need to or if you have to. If you have those things in place, then you won't have to go pulling money out your 401k. You won't have to leave a job and then go snatching all the money out and then go to another job, build up another 401k, take that money out. You don't have to do all that because you'll have that money that can continue to grow for you. And so that's the proper lineup. That's the proper foundation for what you need. And that's why I try to teach and tell and let people know. You set things up like that, it can work. It can work for you pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Alan Wright says, invest in the stock market, long-term, diversified real estate in stocks. What do you think about that?
Okay. Diversification is just what it is. Diversified. You got to be able to have different streams of long-term money. Now, sometimes people they're not making a lot of money, but you got to get started somewhere. So you can get a small fund, a mutual fund, or a small investment and have some money going into that. Let that kind of build on up until you can be able to do something else. But the main thing is, if you got a 401k, have something going into it. I spoke with somebody the other day. They had 15 years on the job. They had just gotten to the 401k like 2 months ago. And I said, listen, these companies, they match. When they match, put in up to what they match, because when you do that, that's free money. See, they get tax breaks for all of that. See, they ain't just, happy to give you money. No, they get tax breaks. Mm-hmm. So if you do that, that's part of your long-term strategy. Now, when it comes to real estate, a lot of people want to get into real estate. They want to invest into it. I say you could start with the first house that you get. If you really want to get started in real estate, but you don't have a lot of money, but you live in somewhere, you might have to get a smaller house that's not all that good or whatever. You might have to do some work to it, but get in it, make it a home, you know what I'm saying, and just work your way up. It's a lot of people who want to get these, they want to have 5, 6, 7 houses just like that. It's not that easy. But you go ahead, get a small house, start working on it. You know what I'm saying? And then it's good. You're saving up. You're building up your money. Okay. Now you're building up your credit. Now you get a house that you really want to move into. You move into that, and that last house you was just in, don't sell it, rent it out. That's your first real estate property. So then the next house, you can be able to do that. So you can start like that, or either get a roommate. If you're single, get a roommate. Let them pay for half of the house too. That can help knock it on out. And then you move and do like that.
Okay, so now that rolls us right into your next business, your next venture. You are the CEO of WJMoore Properties LLC, right here in Savannah. Yes. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, it's basically, I want to provide housing for people. I want to provide affordable housing and provide it for people to be able to have a decent landlord, not somebody who ain't gonna halfway fix stuff and all of that, but who actually cares about them, who wants them to be comfortable, who want to have a home that anybody will be happy living in. And so that's my main goal with WJMoore Properties, is just to provide a lot of rental homes and be able to do that. See, a lot of people say, I want to flip houses. I want to flip houses. Yeah, you can flip houses. But then again, you got to think about different tax implications on, if you flipping houses and this, that, and the other. But I want to actually provide a service to where I'm helping people, because these apartments, man, they are charging out the yin yang now.
Yeah.
And a lot of the houses, the rentals, they getting up so much, and then they cutting a lot out because they're doing so much Airbnbs, and so people are struggling trying to find housing, and that's my main goal. is to build new houses and be able to rent them out, and you know, have families to be happy.
Yeah. I remember when you first started making some of these moves, these real estate moves, and you were grabbing up a little bit of land here and there. And we have a mutual friend, and his mother one day came out and she was complaining about you. She didn't know who you were, and she was complaining about this old crazy man and came and he changed the property, he cut down the trees, and she was complaining to our mutual friend, and we found out that you had bought property near that area, and he asked you about it, and you were like, "Oh yeah, that was me."
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a good laugh out of that. She called you all kind of names, but it turned out, of course, you were doing that for the good. Talk to me a little bit about what compelled you to do something that, I mean, it was upsetting to her, but you felt the need to do that on that property, safety reasons or whatever. Talk to me a little bit about why you did what you did on that property, and what you did with what you did.
Yeah, you know, I mean, all properties got to be developed. They got to be cleared. They got to be set up and be ready to build on. So you know, you got to cut some trees down, take some people shade or whatever. You got to do it.
When did a pecan tree?
Yeah, it actually was pecan trees, and I, you know, I mean, I love pecans. I didn't want to just take down trees, but then again, one of them was kind of about hollowed out, and it was a risk. It was dangerous, you know. And then, you know, and then the other one is sitting right there where I wanted to build at. So I had to take the tree on down.
Yeah.
But you know, you do what you got to do in order, but it's going to provide a purpose. It's going to provide even more than just sitting there and producing a few pecans. You know what I'm saying? So
right. Mama wasn't too pleased with you. Well, hey man, you know, I really appreciate you joining me for this hour. I hate that we got to wrap it up, but you know, time is limited. Time is money, like you say.
Yeah.
Do me a favor and share with the audience different ways that they can contact you, maybe work with you. Do you offer any type of services that they might be interested in, or that they might benefit from?
Oh yeah.
Share that.
Yeah, I don't do a whole lot of different social media. I'm a more of an old school, hands-on person. I like to talk with you, you know, face to face or either through Zoom. And I like to do that. So I give my personal phone number out to anybody that wants to be able to reach out to me. And you know, y'all can, you know, I don't know if I can put it in the comment or chat or something like that, but but I get my phone number. I was 912.
I'm putting it up right now. Go ahead.
All right, 912-309-4177.
4177. You put that.
Yeah, and anything dealing with finances, money, insurance, anything, I can be able to break some things down to you, help you to just kind of figure out a plan, figure out a way of being able to make the most out of what it is that you want to do. If it's you want to try to improve your credit, I can give you some tips on that. If you want to make sure that your family is protected, you know, when it comes to life insurance, there's a lot of stuff going on these days, man. People are dying left and right, COVID and everything else. So, hey, you know, you got to have something in place to leave for your family. So y'all, please give me a call. Feel free, call me anytime. I will be happy to talk with you and be glad to see you.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that up one more time just to make sure people don't think they're calling me, because I don't want y'all calling me. I'm kidding. I help with, you know me. I help with relationships and all that good stuff. So one more time, 912-309-4177. 4177. I'll give his brother a call. Like I said, he's a good friend of mine. I wouldn't bring him on here and promote this in the way that I am, and even encouraging people to call, if I didn't think he was an honorable man and a man full of integrity. Like I said, he's one of my best friends, and I appreciate you sharing this time with me, man. I think you shared a lot of good nuggets, a lot of wisdom, and I think people can really benefit from the show. Aldisa Jordan says, I recommend him. He is full of wisdom. I concur. So I guess so you say your phone number, no email or anything like that, just give you a call. right?
Yeah. Give me a call.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, I think that's it, man. Like I said, I really appreciate you, you joining in with me and sharing all this wisdom with the family. I think they're gonna really benefit from this, and don't be. I'm sure you won't be surprised to hear your phone ringing. So,
Oh yeah.
any closing thoughts?
Yeah. You know, Jim Rome is one of my favorite, saying motivational just speakers and everything. But one thing that he say success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practice every day. So just pick what discipline that you want to practice and just do it every day. If you do that, then you can become an expert at whatever it is that you're trying to do. So that's one thing that I follow, and I suggest everybody else follow.
I'm gonna put that down every day. We put that up for the family. That's a good one there. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. I like that.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to put.
Hmm.
I'm gonna take that one with me. Let me share it with the family. So y'all write that one down. That's a good one. That's something similar to something that Bruce Lee said. If
Mm,
I don't want to mess the quote up, but it just reminded me of Bruce Lee.
gotcha.
Julius Hall says, "Awesome information and guests." I concur. Uh, Jean or Jeanne, how you say that? Aldridge says, "Enjoyed the interview."
Hmm.
Yep, yep. Got a lot of good praise, man. So again, I'm not gonna hold you. I know you got things to do. So thanks again, man. I appreciate your time.
Gotcha. Appreciate you, man. And y'all have a blessed evening.
Yeah. Take care, brother.
All right.
Peace. Man, family. Another exciting episode of Living Proof. Warner Moore is living proof that when you put your mind and when you put your mind to task and a man has a plan, not just a man, anybody. If you got a plan and you walk in accordance with that plan, sky's the limit. There's no stopping you, and really the only limit is your imagination. I want to thank y'all again for joining me. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and for that, I'm eternally thankful. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Peace.